Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Rises live speaker series. As you all know, I am the host, Kelly Boyer, and also the founder of She Rises in the She Rises Foundation. And I'm a mentor for women through my Clarity Method. And I am so happy to have everyone here. Me and Toni have already started having fun. So today's show is going to be all about fun and just getting inspired, which I love. And of course, that is the heart of She Rises. So simple to just uplift and inspire people to just step into the person that they're meant to be. And so, as you know, today I have Toni Ghazi, and he is a cosmic channel, a paradigm shifter. He delivers transmissions to shatter limits, awaken sovereignty, and embody fearless being. And today we're going to talk about just that, everything that you, a lot, I say everything but there's so much more to you, Toni, than what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about shadow work, what it really means, and how to face it from an unconditionally loving place. So grab your coffee, grab your drink, settle in, open your heart, and here we go. We're gonna dive right in.
I'm being so dramatic with my arms.
I
Like
love
I'm
it.
opening the heart. And what does opening heart mean? We hear it all the time in the spiritual community. Open your heart, open your heart. What does it mean? And if we ask people, I'm sure each one will have their own definition. Like for me, and I don't even know why we're starting this, but trusting spirit, that's
Yep,
where you
here we go.
surrender. You know how it goes. Like, oh, here goes the diversion. We're going this way. And I was like, let's make a U-turn this way. Open heart to me means literally letting go of any. And when I say any, I know your minds are comprehending a limited form of any, because it happens all the time. Letting go of any limitation or suppression or should or could or would and the right and the wrong and more, even the idea of fucking morality. Ugh, throw it out, all of it. Open heart means literally you expand your heart to the infinite. The infinite. Everything exists like within the infinite. That is an open heart.
Mhm.
And once you do that, then you are faced with all these things that we've been pre-programmed to think. Your identity, the way you feel, the way you look, you're a male or a woman or I don't know what else and in between and that identity gets a slap in the face in a way. I'm very dramatic, guys, by the way. I've won a lot of Oscar awards, a lot of Grammys just for being so dramatic in this lifetime. Because I am on the stage of creation, you are on the stage of creation, and we are all about drama. And but why will your world, your identity become jolted? Why it's gonna be like jolted when you open your heart? Because you realize what you thought you were, everything that you created in your mind as who you are, as a man, as a woman, as this, as an architect, I don't know, as a whatever it is, all the identities that we placed, all the fears, all the like layers of like definition, you realize, wow, I'm not that. Then if you're not that, then who in the hell are you? And that's where
Mhm.
the rediscovery really begins to happen. That's where the ego will go through what we say, which isn't like technically what happens. But anyways, just like for the mind, for the mind to comprehend, an ego death, right? Like what's an ego death? There is no death of anything really. And like there is no releasing of anything. There is no getting rid of anything. And I'm speaking all this from the view of the praying mantis beings, the insectoid beings that I speak with, who are super wise, super expanded in a way that they understand what intelligence is. So like when you are like faced with that identity crisis that, oh, I thought I knew who I was, and now you realize, wow, I'm more than I am, which is exciting, but then now who am I? Like just that question alone is terrifying. Like what have I been doing for the past 45 years? So I'm 45 years old. You can ask yourself a question and put your age on there. What have I been doing for the past X number of years that I thought was real and was the right way to do and the proper and the loving and this and what Jesus said or Mother Mary or Buddha or Krishna or whatever you believe in, or if you don't believe like in God, you're faced with a massive like realization that, and then the judgment comes in because we're so trained. We are such masters at doing everything. Even forgetting who we are, we're a master for at. So like the judgment comes in and now you begin to judge your life
Mhm.
when all of it was the point. All of it was the point. Even the fact that you forgot who you were and you thought you were that box. Although within that box you thought you were everything, but now you unbox the box, there is no box there, and now you realize you're even much bigger.
Mm.
So that's where the shadow work comes in. So like today's title I think was how to unconditionally how to work with your shadows through unconditional love, right? And what does unconditional love really means? Again, the mind is so creative. The mind is a beautiful being, a beautiful consciousness, beautiful entity that's doing precisely what it's meant to do. So it's important as you begin to do what's called shadow work to not to remember not to judge what is. Any form of judgment is literally separation, creating a distance, separating an aspect of you like from you. So now you need to walk 20 miles to get to the other side of you. I'm being dramatic again. So so every time you catch yourself like judging an experience you had when you were a child, or a decision that you made, or witnessing someone else and you were judging them, even a like memory of you judging somebody else, or your parents, or your boyfriend, or your girlfriend, or whatever it is. Be mindful that every time you have done that, you literally created like physical distance. And all what shadow work really means, because it sounds so mysterious and so like dramatic, is just bringing all those pieces back to your heart, right? Because oftentimes that distance isn't this way or that way, it's buried down. You bury it in the abyss of your memory. You don't want to deal with it, suppression of this consciously or unconsciously. So the idea of working with the shadows is not that they're bad or they're evil or they're, I don't know, there's like some voodoo down there, although voodoo isn't bad to begin with. But I'm just speaking from my mother's end, because sometimes she says, "Oh, are you doing that voodoo stuff again?" As if it's, I know. They're Christians. I grew up Christian. I love them to death. They're trying to comprehend to the best of their knowledge what I do.
Right.
But every once in a while they say, "Are you playing with the devil?" Or I don't know, playing with like whatever words, the old paradigm words, which they don't even exist in my field. It's hard for me to find them now, but I can like experience them. Exorcism or yes, all of that exists in a sense. It's all experiences, but in reality, it's not like that, right? So when you go into your shadows, it's not you're going into the aspects of you that are broken. There is nothing broken about you, ever. I don't care what your doctor says. I don't care what your psychiatrist says. I don't care if you went to Harvard, MIT, and all this other bullshit, higher than lower. I don't give a shit. None of it is true. You are never, ever fucking broken. Know that fully. You are God. You are a divine being. You are the flame of creation, continually creating the infinite aspects of what creation is. And part of that infinity, guys, is the happy, great moments, the neutral moments, and like within the way our mind understands our reality, all the bad things, right? All like the dark things. But none of it on the surface, it may give you the illusion of an experience, but underneath that label, if we peel all these labels we call happiness, sadness, broken, I'm not enough, blah, 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 all these labels, all these creative ways that we have described ourselves to be able to experience them. If you peel that label underneath it, literally what they showed me is a flame of God. Is because like something is engineering, something is giving power to such an experience. What is that? It's unconditional love of God, of creation, whatever that is, whatever you experience God in your mind. If it's consciousness, if it's a stream of like in intelligence, here comes the stuttering. If it's Jesus, if it's Mother Mary, it's Krishna, Buddha, it doesn't matter. All of them mean the same thing. But when you begin to comprehend beyond the intellect that, wow, underneath the experiences that seem so dramatic through polarity and like separation and all these things, underneath them, something is giving them life. What is giving them life? It's the unconditional love of the Creator to continually allow itself to create the many shades and forms of anything that you can desire, obviously to allow itself to comprehend itself, but to give us the opportunity to experience what the infinite is. What is expansion? Like through spirituality and through like religion and through all kinds of other, I guess, modalities of like woo-woo-ness, right? We're all doing our best, guys, to understand like the infinite. But what is expansion or enlightenment?
Mhm.
The light doesn't need more light. The light comprehends itself as light. That's why it's there. But what we're trying to do is allow the aspects of us that are living in the shadows, in the darkness, the pieces that we've buried consciously, unconsciously, or anything in like between, to recognize itself again as light. Because what is darkness? The men's beings were very clear for me, and like they said, even darkness is a shade of light.
Mhm.
There is no darkness from the way our mind constructed darkness is, as if it's there's nothing there. There's absolutely everything there. God lives there in the shade that isn't very bright white light. It's in this very tiny, 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 tiny small light that you cannot see it until you open your heart. So none of you are broken. And if, of course, we've all been conditioned through society, through culture, through education, through like parents, through your own things that you created like in your mind. So when you begin to work on these conceptual ideas of the concept that are what I call like what I call like Disney and like fair or like Disney stuff, where it's like, it's a beautiful movie and it's a happy ending, and it's all these, and I'm being a bit like judgmental in a very dramatic way. um, but the more we watch things that are so conceptual, we begin performing ideas of these concepts, but being the frequency of what we are witnessing and seeing is a very different thing. Two different worlds. I realized this year that I've been performing all of my life. I didn't even know the word performance. I never used the word, and I never have used the word like performance. I'm not an actor, although now I realize I'm on an acting stage of creation as a god. But I had a like nervous breakdown or in ego death like this year, where I realized that I've paid my way through like receiving love.
Mhm.
That like somehow all my life I didn't grow up rich, guys. I was like, I grew up poor, and like we didn't have money and whatever. It was our world, and I knew what I knew. But now I know, wow, we weren't really rich. We didn't have, we're like we didn't have money. But like my dad was generous. He's always been super generous, and I witnessed through him, through just the human like in interaction, him always giving money and like doing his best and being so generous and giving and giving and giving all the fucking time when he didn't have anything, and when he also within our family dynamic would like complain like God, like, and of course he was a Christian. Why wasn't he there for him? Why aren't we creating wealth? Why isn't he able to save? Why, all the disempowerment, like lack mentality, right? So this is what I witnessed as a child. And I grew up not knowing what I didn't know, and I just knew that if you pay for people's like dinners, or if like you see somebody like needs something, you just the action of giving, whether it's financially, whether it's through your heart, whether it's time, whatever, just giving pieces of yourself all the time is love in my mind. This is how it was defined. And I did it very well. And people on the receiving end viewed it as love. But what I didn't realize, which I just realized like this year through a lot of the shadow work like that I did, I went deeper into myself, into my story. There's a lot more to uncover, guys. I'm not there yet, and there is no destination. We'll talk about that later. I uncovered that, wow, I unconsciously, like this was without any like consciousness, because I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing I thought I was being like loving, and of course my actions were loving and they came from the heart, but the love to myself was not there.
Mhm.
I had no value, no self-value. I have no self-worth. And like somehow, like somebody smiling when I gave them like, money or food or whatever it is, or like my time, or gave them a hug or whatever it was, that smile that I received, or like that thanks, was my quenching for the love that I always desired for myself. Completely didn't, was not aware of any of that. So there'll be a book coming out one day about how I paid my way, and I have it because like Spirits told me exactly like what the title is, how I paid my way to love or through love or something like that. So like things like that that you could never see with clarity of like energy, and I'm putting my hands on my eyes and like covering them because the physical eyes are also limited in what we can see. So when you close your eyes and allow the energy to sense and see beyond the mind, you'll be able to see like with clarity the things that you never knew were running your life. But as I say, running your life not from a bad way, not from a judgment way, all of it was serving a purpose. All of it was allowing me to forget and allowed me to experience a shade of love that came through the performance of love, that came through the fact that I didn't have self love. So when you begin to expand your idea of what love is, or even what unconditional like love is, how it looks like, everything that occurred is a form of love.
Mhm.
Because oftentimes when we like realize, oh, I've been performing, as we're uncovering what unconditional love is, we're judging the aspects of who we are, and that's continual like separation of like who we are. So none of us are ever broken. The trick is because we are infinitely connected to our creatorship. Because we are connected, because we are not broken, because we are perfectly designed as God intelligence, we create the illusion of brokenness.
Mhm.
Because shall we truly have been or are broken, you just wouldn't be able to create. Nothing good, nothing neutral, or nothing bad. You just wouldn't create. You wouldn't even exist if you're broken.
Mhm.
That's the key. And when you realize that literally beyond the mind, and look, you have to trick or play or help your mind ascend with you, right? You grab your mind's hand, like, okay, honey, we're going to take a little walk into the dark. I know it's a little scary there. I know you love control. I know you want to love everything. You want to know before you surrender. But we're going to play a little game where we don't know where we're heading. It's dark as hell. It's scary as shit. But we're going to allow and trust what's going to reveal itself. And you begin to see the light in the darkness. So
Mhm.
oftentimes we talk about the mind within the spiritual community, or like some of it, and again, there's no judgment as I say this. Please, 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 please know that fully. From my heart, there's no judgment. But I'm able to see, wow, even me, I talked about the mind as if it's the devil. It's like this constricting thing. It's like this thing that always kept me from being like, enlightened. It's this bad thing, and get rid of your ego. Like getting rid of things doesn't exist. Guys, if you ever continue saying getting rid of things, you're literally separating yourself more when the whole idea is you're bringing all those pieces back to you. So you can realize who you are as a wholesome being. So, so like releasing energy, this is for me. The masters have been this year very strict with words. They've been bringing my attention on what I say. They're like, be mindful on what you are saying and comprehend what you are saying. When you say, I want to release this and get rid of this, more separation. No, it's all integrating everything back to you with unconditional love. Love without conditions. Although a lot of us say the word unconditional love, we don't comprehend the word unconditional. Because oftentimes our actions are conditional. Unconditional love literally is loving everything with no condition. Even aspects of you that you judged and like shunned and like pushed away, and you feel even the version of you that feels broken and believes it's broken, you love that unconditionally. You allow that version of you to be precisely what it is, because that action, that version of you that knows only what it knows up to that point, in that microsecond of a moment, as it's creating what's the aspect of you feeling broken and experiencing the idea of broken, in that moment, it is perfectly designed to create that grain of many infinite grains. And when you begin to see that every part of creation, every aspect of creation, which is like one of them, you have created this idea that I am broken, that in that moment it's a perfect state of being. In that moment, if it's God playing itself as that role to allow you to experience that little grain of many grains, to allow you eventually to see yourself as the infinite. So you honor that fully with love without conditions. Because when you know I'm never broken, all these labels are just labels allowing me to experience shade of creation, then all of it is being created by that flame. By everything is being sourced, is being fueled by God, which is unconditionally loving. And because it loves you without conditions, it allows you to experience all shades of the infinite, which is feeling broken, feeling not being broken. Two different things. Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
Sorry, I feel like I kind of like went on
No,
like a
no.
channeled state, consciously channeled. So, are there any questions? Are there feedback? Yeah. Or
Yes, no, I will, I really I love what you're saying
yeah,
because it's very true. And, you know, when I connect to source, I get very curious. And, everything that we do and that we are is exactly what you said. We're just a reflection, and we're just source reflecting back to source. We can't have we can't have that unless we experience polarities. And I was sitting there thinking when you were talking about like darkness, I was, because we think that we have to have the light to see, and that when we're in the darkness, that we're blind. But in all reality, that's not true, because even in the darkness, we can see. We may just need a little bit more time to let the eyes adjust, but we can actually see in the dark. And the reason that we can see is because biologically, our eyes like create a light for us to be able to see in the dark. So I wanted to bring that up. That's my nerd side of my sciencey nerd side that I have, but it's true. Like, we are created to see the light in the light and in the dark. And that is all beautiful pieces of us,
yes,
every single bit of it. And if we didn't have the shadow, how would we truly know how to love ourselves unconditionally, right?
yes. As you're speaking, like they were showing me like this image, and like they were throwing the word out, rediscovering. Like, imagine for a moment a world of darkness, complete pitch dark. That even when you're standing in like that darkness, you cannot see any light. It's just pure black. But
Mhm.
in that moment of blackness, there's a rebirth of what light is. Like for the self, and I'm getting chills, it's a precious moment that within what seems to me completely dark and black, you are able to see the birth of light. So even the light itself is recognizing itself as this one precious grain dot within the infiniteness of like darkness. Like, what a precious moment of realization.
Right.
It is beauty. Like, everything is playing out ideas for us to realize the beauty. So even the idea of this complete darkness allows light to see itself, to birth itself as light, and for the dark to see the light perhaps for the first time, or this shade of light, and for us to witness like what that is and how it looks like. Everything is beautiful. And really, when you begin to vibrate on love without conditions for everything that you witness, every possibility, every probability, you'll just literally begin to see the beauty in everything. And it's not like one day, you know, the answers for the infinite wisdom. That's not how it works, guys, because things are irrelevant at times on your path. But on your path of rediscovering and remembering, you literally you'll realize there's beauty in everything.
Mhm.
Because like, I don't know, it's hard to describe more in words. I'm just like feeling it. I'm like, wow, we live in a world of like beauty over beauty over beauty over beauty of creation. But we're not, we have forgotten that it's that. Um, and that's where you work with the mind. That's where you work with the words. That's where you work like with the sentences. That's why you adjust and stretch and help and assist and restructure. It's restructuring the building blocks of what we were told through our society life looks like is, and the physicality of things. And when you begin to deconstruct that and reconstruct a new framework, let's say, a new like scaffolding of what your world is, you begin to see through different lenses. You literally begin to see beyond the veil. And what is the veil? It's not a physical thing. The veil is our own understanding of what is. It's not
Right.
you know, it's, we are the veil and we are the unveiled. We're everything.
Yeah, well, it's what the veil is, what we've created it to be. So when we're like the veil is getting thin, we're really talking about our view and our perspective and how we're starting to actually see things that's creating the thinness of that veil, right? Because a slight perspective change can lift the entire curtain for you.
Yeah.
And the person standing next to you may still see the curtain as being drawn, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then as like we do these things, guys, it's important to test like all these theory, because in the beginning when you're hearing us, whoever is speaking about spirituality and different ways of understanding, it's all theories in our minds. Oh, blah,
Mhm.
blah, 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 blah. Mind's getting it. And you go back home, you go back to your world, and it's like the same world you lived before. So I test things out. So when the universe presents me with like very dramatic experience, I'm like, okay, Tony, this is your opportunity to walk to walk the talk. Which, by the way, like this year, the menses pushed me to walk the talk, not just because I realized myself at one point, I've been professing all these beautiful explanations and things, and I get, you get these downloads and like you say them, and I am the conduit of it, but I'm like, and they said, okay, honey, now you've talked enough like a parrot, literally. Now it's time for you to embody what you say in your personal life. That's when the shadow work really began. Because I didn't understand really what, I mean, you understand what the word shadow work means, but there was no like context to it. So like one little example, visceral example that happened like this week, which I shared on another podcast the other day, but I feel like it like will be relevant here, is to when you hear us, meaning us, all of us, or even hear yourself and hear your spirit talk about these grander aspects. And then you go back to life, you're like, well, I comprehend the aspect, but nothing's fucking changing in my life. Like, what am I doing? Why am I not manifesting? LOL. We'll talk about manifestation in a second. We all know who the IRS is, yes?
Uh-huh.
Who doesn't know who they are? Who doesn't pay taxes on this planet? Exactly. We know. For the longest time, I always viewed the IRS as the bad kid on the block. Like, who wants to pay? I'm like, why do you even live in a world paying taxes? That's a lot of fucking money. Like, okay, I make good money and you pay a lot of money. It's annoying. It's just annoying. Where's this money going to? I don't see it. But anyways, and and I have accountants and they take care of all that stuff. I love math, but I'm not an accountant. So anyways, and I know through them, through like their emails, I owe this much this quarter. You'd have to pay this. Fine, fine, fine. Well, this week I get a letter that's like certified mail, and I wasn't home to sign it. So now I have to go to the post office
Oh.
where there's always a line.
Right?
I'm like,
I'm all, if there's anything that's going to test your shadow work, it's the post
and
office.
I was there this morning. Listen, I was there this morning to like to send out a mantis, and there was literally like 20 people in front of me. And of course, because all the cut downs, I live in DC, guys, in Washington DC, where a lot of like the government shutdowns have happened. Lines have been insane, but it's a beautiful opportunity for me to trust spirit. It's a good exercise for me to walk what I talk. Like trust the universe, trust the path, trust the timing. Like because by the time I get to the woman and she helps me and I leave, within that 20, 30 minutes, the universe was orchestrating a beautiful thing for me. So that's how I talk to myself. So I get to the IRS or like I see this little like green thing that says you have to go to the post. I'm like, fuck, I have to go to the post office. And immediately the mind does its thing. And I catch myself, okay, Tony, okay, mind, I get you, you're upset, but the menses come like, nope. Use it as a beautiful opportunity, surrender and go. But in the meantime, the mind is creating stories. Why am I getting a letter? I've never received a letter ever. Like let alone you have to sign it. I'm like, what is this from the IRS? And the whole mind went, oh my God, there's must be like a penalty. And I've paid penalties before, and I was late a little bit. Whatever. I make money, I pay it. I don't get too upset about that. It is what it is. But this was dramatic. This was like drama on my doorstep. So anyhow, I'm like standing in line. Of course, there was 20 people in front of me. It took 40 minutes maybe to get to it. And it's the same fucking letter that my accountant just emailed me about 3 days ago. I'm like, all this for that? But it wasn't. It was literally the same thing because they sent me because they can go on the IRS website and see how much I owe. I don't need physical letters. They tell me. Anyways, but throughout that whole like journey, I went through trauma. I'm creating stories of something happened. They're gonna seize the house, like all these dramatic stories, which there shouldn't be any of that. But anyways, the mind went there
Mhm.
while I'm trying to walk the talk, like, okay, trust. And I like realized in that moment, I never ever in my life, whenever I began paying taxes, maybe 2022, I never saw the IRS as anything but the bad guy. Awful, negative, suppressed, down. I mean, I haven't even called the IRS. I don't want to speak to any human that works for the IRS. Like it's such a in the mind created this whole thing. So I decided to take matters in my own hands, although I have my accountants and they can handle it. And I said, I'm gonna call like the IRS and DC City, right? So we have the state and we have the IRS. And I call them and I'm on hold again for 45 minutes doing my thing. In my mind, I had created an image that the IRS like representatives are not going to be kind or nice or sweet or anything of that sort. They're going to say, "You owe this money. You need to pay us," and da da da, like very, blah blah blah. When I tell you, two people, the IRS and like DC City, like tax people, two representatives were literally my guides. They were telling me where I tell my people, they said, "Honey, you don't have to worry. You'll manifest money tomorrow. You're going to get this paid. We're here for you. We're happy to work on a payment." Like they gave me all kinds of options. Like my mind literally went through, froze. Like, am I talking to a human right now? Like, it was the most magical experience because before I made the call, I began like working like with immense beings on redefining what the IRS is.
Mhm.
And even the idea of why do we have to pay like taxes? Why not pay taxes? I'm a manifester. I'm a creator. If I want to create the idea of having to work to make money, and now I'm making money and it's all me to begin with. So who's the IRS? I'm not paying another entity. The IRS is another form of me. So I keep paying myself and all these amazing. Do you know what I mean? So I had to
Mhm.
work with the mind, but this was all in the intellect. But what transpired through the dialogue with this human showed me that, wow, the universe is listening to me. Like
Mhm.
in my mind, somehow in my psyche, I have changed the idea of receiving like IRS bills as being, oh my God, IRS bills, and be like, yeah, I'm paying myself. It's amazing because the IRS is me to begin with. Then 2 days later, listen to this. I have another tag on the front door for you're not there to sign the letter. I'm like, are you fucking joking? I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? I go in my mind a little bit. I'm like, okay, there's like this has never happened in like 25 years since like never ever. I'm like, what is this? In a week, I get two these like two like you have to sign letters. Anyhow, so I go back to the post office, wait another I don't know how long, and this time and since 20 until like my age right now, which I am like 45 years old. I've never ever received money from the IRS ever. I've always paid, always paid. Like never received a refund for some odd reason. Guess what came in the mail? Guess what that second letter was in 2 days after? It was an $800 check from the IRS that I'm supposed to get from 2023.
Wow.
But that was proof to me from the universe that you are beginning to shift your vibration and frequency of what you always thought was evil and bad and why. And now the idea of like money, the flow of money, that now you see the IRS as you and you see yourself paying yourself to the idea of the IRS because there's no separation to begin with, began showing me from these little subtle signs. I mean, it wasn't subtle with that thing you have to sign and come to that to the thing, but insane, insane. So when you begin so I'm showing you this example that happened in real life and a lot of other examples in my life like that have happened that always are my proof that my frequency is shifting in the way in which I see things. And it begins with dialoguing with yourself. It begins with reframing your mind and allowing the universe to show you, and you'll begin to see like it's physical manifestations of things. Unbelievable, just unbelievable.
Yes. I love that because I agree. We on our mind our we get hijacked by our minds all the time. And the mind isn't trying to do us dirty. It's just that it's just playing the role that it's supposed to because we're like it's part of our mind that helps us create that discernment. But I do agree when the mind starts to kind of hijack and take over, I believe that the best thing is like you said that you use the word redefine, reframe. Like let's reframe what this looks like. Because like for me, I know the mind isn't always honest, but the moment that I step into that reframing, I really feel like I'm stepping more into the energy of my heart space, that objective view. What is the reframe of this? And it's usually in that reframe where that truth lies, right? Versus, my mind going, let's take you on this wild ride.
Yeah.
But I love how you said like you literally reframed to say, the IRS is me. And the moment you said that, I was like, that's so true because everything is a mirror. My whole reality, your whole reality,
Yes.
is a mirror of you, a mirror of me that I'm constantly creating.
Yes.
And Sorry, and I love that you use the IRS because I think everybody is terrified of the
Everybody
IRS.
is. Listen, when I tell you, I've called the utility companies, I've called a lot of governmental like entities, and oftentimes the representatives behind the phones aren't in the best mood, and
Right.
like they're trying to be helpful. And I know they're doing their best, but you can tell vibrationally they want to get off the phone. You're their last priority. Well, to me, the IRS, this is like 20th, like it's like to the 20th degree of that.
Mhm.
When I tell you they used words that are spiritual, like they were telling me to manifest and don't worry, honey, like, and they would call me honey, like the universe is with you, like that was clear to me, a very clear spirit speaking like through them, you know,
Yeah.
and so like to the point is in your daily life when you learn all these conceptual ideas, begin putting them at play in your world and begin to see the shift. Now, you do that, of course, you may use like the mind a bit to restructure things, but always from a challenge the heart to stretch even wider. Even when I was saying, I love the IRS and like IRS is me, I wasn't just saying it like a parrot with the mind. I was falling into my heart and allowing my heart to really expand the idea and comprehend what I'm saying. And that's where the shift really happens. The resonance and the vibration frequency of the heart translated and redefined that. The mind cannot work on energy. But the mind is pretty good, you know? The same way that we can create a world of lack and other things, it's the same mind that's creating a world of infinite manifestation. So, you know what I mean? So don't hate the mind too much. It's a technologically advanced, amazing thing. The thing is, we're all expanding each other like consciously. The mind, because also the mind is its own consciousness in a way. The mantis beings one time, like recently, they showed me an image. Um, and I think I posted it on like social media about ourselves, and like the question that the person has posed is like something about like like planets, like out there, and like they were talking about portals and like planetary bodies and Mars and other one, like the actual like physical like planets, and like they told him, remember the reason that you are experiencing intelligence, the infiniteness of all, right? Which is not structured. It's a flow of information that the mind is not able to comprehend. Because you're not experiencing as what it is, you're experiencing through the lens of limitation and like separation. You experience planetary bodies as having distance, like from you. But like they said, have you thought of each of the planets being conscious cells? And perhaps if you zoom out, what seems to be separate is a much larger beings, and each of the planetary bodies are actual cells. And they brought it back to his body, and like they said, in the same way that our physical bodies like contain 3 billion or trillions like cells, each of the cells are their own consciousnesses and our own like gods. So this one identity that feels as one has trillion and billions of gods like within it. Mind explosion. Like when you begin to realize, I'm not just one God. I contain many consciousness that's experience themselves as like separate, but to me like somehow I'm seeing this whole package as one being. When like with when like within me there are trillions of beings. The access to the knowledge, the access to the wisdom, the access to the power, the access to the manifestation. I have a whole team of gods within this physical body that's there to support me and assist me. This is like when we say like words are really important, and like and of course we're beginning with the idea of words because we understand it and we use it. But like other things, be mindful, be conscious of what you are saying, what you are even thinking, what you are feeling. Because you have trillions of gods working there for you. So when you say, I'm having a shitty life today, even as just, I'm having a bad day today, you have trillions of gods that are performing that wish for you.
Yes.
So there's not one like
Yeah.
it's a comprehension. I hope I'm like I conveyed it the way that it was experienced. It was just like a realization of like, I'm not just one being. I'm not alone. I'm not unsupported. That
Yeah.
even each tiny hair on my hand, and I have a lot of hair, guys. I'm super hairy. I'm Middle Eastern. I can't help it. Even my back is hairy, my butt, and everything. And I trim and do all the things. But anyways, welcome to 3D. Even each strand of hair is its own being, and when we begin to realize, wow, I'm all these beings. I'm these trillions of beings in this one like container that seems to be one being. That's powerful.
Mhm.
I have so much support here and then beyond. And the trees are there to support me, and the wind, and the insects, and the other humans. You know what I mean? And if you bring everything together, because like we are one manifestation, like our identity, like really is the one identity that is together,
Mhm.
right? Does that make sense? Because like when we pass away, when we transition like to energy, everything floats away, everything becomes one or whatever, you're right, but like somehow that like oneness has been condensed into this one body that I think is disempowered or alone or isn't powerful enough when all of it is within us,
Mhm.
you know.
Well, to me, I think you gave a very good example of
Yeah,
what source really is,
yeah,
because we are not a piece of source, we are of source.
yes,
And um I mean, if we take that concept even bigger, right?
yes,
And we talk about cells, so I'm going to stick with this theme of cells.
sure,
We are one of trillions of cells that are of source. And realistically, we are all working together. Like you said, there is no separation. We are all working together. And when you say that, I'm going to tell you like it makes sense to me, and I can see it on such a grander scale than that. But it's true. That is what we are. And I think the beautiful thing is that we truly are source reflecting back on source is what we are.
totally,
And like yeah, like we get, and the truth is like we can have any experience we want, but that mind steps in and we think, oh, it only can be this limitation
yeah,
of what it is that we want. And
yeah,
and that's part of our job or mission or whatever it is
yeah.
to to overcome that. But we have to have that because we wouldn't know what to overcome if we didn't have polarity.
Totally, totally. But also, like, I want to go back to the mind, like, for 1 second. Even like when we talk about the mind, we also like talk about it from as if it's like something separate than source. Well, mind is source.
Hmm.
Like mind, like within the spiritual like community or maybe like psychological community, I don't know, whoever talks about ego and all these things and mind, and it's been positioned in a way as like the villain, as a less empowered being, when it is actually it is like it is God itself.
Hmm.
And because it was pre-programmed with forgetfulness, it experiences like forgetfulness. So like the point is work with the mind,
Hmm.
ascend together, expand together, enlighten together. Like, and it is a vehicle in this physicality to allow us to comprehend and understand things. But as you do that, there's going to be other like types of intelligences within our own consciousness that becomes more aware of beyond the mind, that will be at play and will be there to support. So it's not, we're not trying to stop the mind. We were talking about meditation like before we began, Kelly, right? This was you,
Yes.
right? It feels like
Yep,
it was
that's me.
it feels like it was eons ago. This is so crazy. It
Like,
was only been half an hour. I feel
I'm
like it's,
like, you and I were in agreement
we were
of
talking about
meditation.
meditation. I was telling Kelly, I'm never a meditator. And as I was like awakening, I like beat myself up. I was so judgmental. I'm like, my friends, he just meditated for 8 hours and she did 30 minutes. And oh my God, they're so blissful. And they're doing this. I'm like, I could never fucking meditate. Like I could sit there for 3 or 4 minutes and I'm still struggling in it. I'm like, and I woke up one day, I'm like, well, what the fuck am I doing? Like, but the idea of meditation has been fed in our mind, looks one way. And because I cannot reach that one way, I'm like, I'm like I'm not reaching it. But and there's the idea of quieting the mind, right? As if some evil and devil, and when you quiet it, you can hear. Yes, it's an aspect of more, but the mind's designed precisely what it's meant to do. You don't need to quiet the mind to enlighten, guys. You don't need to quiet the mind to expand, to hear, to like listen, because what you're gonna begin like to realize when you expand your heart, the heart resonance, is that the mind will continue to do what it's meant to do and expand on the process, but yet you have another like where what I have like called hyper awareness, because experienced it in like my life where I'm aware of two different things and three or four or five, like where my mind is going insane, but yet like somehow I'm also experiencing complete bliss or complete void or complete whatever. So don't be too hard on the mind. The mind will always be part of us.
Mhm.
Be kind to it, be compassionate to it, be the theme of this, loving without conditions to it, unconditionally like loving to it, not conceptually, but really like vibrationally. Like it is doing its best based on like the data that we input in it. And you will realize when you input new data in, the mind's genius. You
Mhm.
add another data, this fucking mind is even more genius than before. So
Right.
don't beat it up too much. Don't abuse it. It's not funny. Don't abuse your mind because all of it is working together to comprehend something that's even larger. So everything is beautiful. Um, and when you begin working with shadows, you go into into memories that perhaps you didn't, because I would tell my friends for a while, I don't remember my childhood, anything beyond 10 or 12. Like I have no memory. I may have a little glimpse of a thing, but nothing substantial, or like I just don't remember.
Mhm.
Um, and I like realized like this year as I was doing like the shadow work is because I grew up in Lebanon and I moved to the US when I was 15 years old. We also grew up like during the Lebanese Civil War, and I don't know, it was there for 6 or 7 years or whatever. Anyways, like a like good chunk of time. And I asked my mom a few months ago. I'm like, did we go to school like during the war? She's like, yeah, every single day. And I'm like, I mean, I have no memory of that. Um, but when I began working like on the shadows of mine, what like came up is like my stuttering like perhaps began when the war was happening because like the state of the whole country was in complete panic, fear, aggression, like just in the like the sound of bombs, of ta 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 ta, of like of like the like what we call Kalashnikovs, which are whatever like things you fight with, I guess rifles, and constant boof, like explosions and people afraid and like you don't have power for a week or whatever it is. A lot of it began like surfacing, and I realized, wow, I have suppressed a lot of aspects of me. So like things will like pop up where you have to face again, and you meet that child, you meet that version of you, and several versions of you throughout that whole the like one story of the war who was afraid of noise, who was afraid, who could feel things, and I like realized that I this is where my performance began. I realized that everything felt so overwhelming. The anxiety, the fear of my parents, the sounds. I guess us going to school while there's war happening. I have no memory of that. But mom said you went to school every single day. It was so overwhelming that I, and this is like my mind speaking, that I must have shut down my emotions and began playing out like fantasy roles, acting and performing ideas of love and feeling safe and feeling all that. So you'll be jolted into a new reality like but when you like realize it then you go back to those versions of you and allow them to fully be like what they were, and I began realizing that even me like shutting down like my emotions was a beautiful safety mechanism for me,
Mhm.
that even like my mind was allowing me not to experience something that was so traumatizing that it was time for you to do something else. You don't have to remember this now, and even I was more judgmental on me for not remembering my childhood because my friend fucking remembers every second of his childhood.
Wow.
And I like saw that as a deficiency, right? I can't remember, but he can. When now I see it as an absolutely beautiful gift, I don't need to re-experience that. I don't need to remember that. That was the most beautiful gift my mind gave me. So when you begin to work through that shadows from love without conditions, you begin to see the gifts and the values and everything that I don't need
Mhm.
to revisit that anymore, and that I am in a healed state, and I'm not in a broken state, and I'm not less complete because I don't remember like my childhood. I'm more complete actually, like than ever because now I'm able to experience what I defined as I don't remember my childhood as a lack or a deficiency as a beautiful act of love without conditions. Universe loved me so much, it didn't want me to experience that anymore. Like you begin to unlock these things where you see the beauty in everything. It's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like we're not here to beat up or try to get rid of the mind. Like the
Yeah,
mind is absolutely doing the job that it was designed to do.
yeah,
And part of the mind as we came in as human beings is that, when we experience trauma to the nth, you know, experience, the mind does the reason that here's my nerd side again. The
yes,
reason that happens is the mind shuts off because so the body can function. And we still have to function, we still have to live, we still have to, quote unquote survive. And so the mind is a beautiful thing because it is absolutely doing its job to keep us safe, to keep us protected. And and the mind and the body do work together in that sense. So, when you kind of like when you're talking about the experience that you had in Lebanon
yeah,
that you had forgotten, but now, I mean, it is kind of resurfacing. It just means that the mind is now unlocking that because it's saying it's safe now. You're in a place that is safe now for you to really look at it. It may not be the most comfortable thing, but it's not going to be back when it shut off because realistically, from a physiological standpoint, that amount of shock actually can kill us. It can shut off every organ that we have and we can drop dead right there.
exactly, exactly. I mean, I didn't know that, but that makes total sense.
I'm
So
like, just to give you
thank
a
you
little
for being so
tidbit.
nerdy.
I know, I'm like, here's my nerd self. Let me tell you about it. But when I look at it from that standpoint, I really look at like the beauty of our entire, like all of that is intelligence.
Totally,
And
totally.
it's so beautiful. And, we were created in a sense to really we really are equipped to have and create the things that we want.
Yes, totally,
Yeah.
totally. And like, let me give you like another visceral like experience of like unconditional love, right? So like through the praying man's beings, they allowed me just to experience what that means, and that keeps like evolving. But with my life's experiences, with my own like self work, I began to see it from a very different shade, like from a very personal shade, from a very intimate shade. Like one of them was like to work with mushroom medicine,
Mhm.
and I was very called to work and like there's a whole story of how like the mushrooms like came into my life, and I have so many of them at home, and I only do them when they tell me. I have to like I have so many, you would think I do them every day. I trust spirit. They said, and they show themselves. There's mushrooms all of a sudden on a path. It's never crazy stuff. But anyways, so I do mushrooms 2 or 3 months ago, I think in June maybe or like July of like this year, and I only do 1 gram, which is really like a small like macro dose. And I ask like before I took it, you try to set an intention. I'm like, what's freedom? Like this was
Mhm.
my question. Like I want to understand freedom, like beyond the mind. Like let me feel freedom, what that means.
I'm like, that is a loaded question you
Very.
asked. Yes, so much
Where
depth to that.
where it took me is to another like point in my life when I was molested when I was a child, when I was sexually molested, like by a family member, and I had no idea I was gonna go there. But all of a sudden, I like witnessed myself in like the whole molestation act, but not like feeling like the molestation, but almost like from the outside in. I'm just watching this play of like this adult like sexually like molesting me. But as I'm witnessing it, I'm not witnessing it with my mind. I'm not thinking with my mind the way that I would think now. It was just this understanding of what freedom is. That this young boy who was, I don't know, between like 5 and 8 or 10, had no freedom, desiring to be free, but had no freedom. But this was the really unconditionally like loving like space the mushrooms truly like gifted me is it allowed me to also see my molester in the moment when he was molesting me, for him to feel free for the first time to do whatever he wishes to me. That in his everyday moment, in his mind, if he wishes to molest people, he doesn't have the freedom to. But in the act of it itself, in that little tiny moment, however long it lasted, he comes to stuttering, he felt free. That's a shade of freedom because there's infinite shades of freedom, right?
Hmm.
And then what was playing out is both of us were like desiring like to be free, but playing out the shades of freedom to each other as ascended masters. And in that moment, I knew that the being like that molested me was in so much pain, was in a prison of some sort, and like so was I. No way on earth I could have even conceived or thought or felt or seen. And in that moment, I had to, it's not I had to, I couldn't but experience the unconditionality of love to both players, me, like, as a victim,
Hmm.
and that being who was like doing the act of perpetration. It was this very wholesome, encompassing, we're all prisoners and we're all attempting to taste freedom in one way or another.
Hmm.
It was just so mind blowing, and I had to come to peace, like to what happened, and just view it as an act display of, because also like in the moment I didn't feel disempowered, I didn't feel like a victim, and I didn't see him as disempowered or him like as a victim. It was a very wider like lens of God at play. It was so phenomenal. It opened my heart to like, and the irony, oh my God, I can't, okay, I'm sorry guys, this is really real right now. Like, so last night I was meeting with my brand advisor because I hired her to help me with my brand, and we were there like together for 3 hours. She's very spiritual. We were both activated, and like we finished our call around 10 p.m. and or like 11 p.m. and I was like, oh my God, I have to go to bed and I have to get up early, and but I was so activated I couldn't sleep. Right? I'm like, I can't sleep right now, but I know I have to get up at 6 a.m. But I'm like, you learn to trust. Like, okay, spirit. And like I turned Netflix on and I wasn't in the mood really of watching anything. And I'm flipping through Netflix and I'm like, oh God, this is just, I don't care to watch anything. I just want to sleep, but I can't. And I go to a show that's, I guess, playing out right now about back from 2007 to 2000 and like 14 on CNN or CNBC. Like they had this thing called like Predator, where I don't know if you guys have seen. I like haven't seen it, but it's just like documentary about that show that happened where like CNN or CNBC, uh, like the anchor, they would hire these like young kids like with the cops and like pretend like it's like they would try to catch predators, right? And it's all being filmed. And of course, nothing happens because like the cops would come and like the anchor like would come, be like what's going on, and it's very like real, super triggering, super like emotional. But as I was watching this thing, I could like I could remember like my childhood, but like for a moment, I felt extreme compassion like for the for like the predators, right? And of course for the victims, but specifically like for the predators, I began experiencing this like lens of compassion beyond comprehension in what was occurring as a display of what I thought and felt of like judgment, that the anchor was like judging even like this predator who's in pain, who perhaps was molested like as a child, who like perhaps like truly like lived a like life that caused him to like somehow begin thinking there is value in like doing what he was doing. It was a very eye-opening, and like that's how the men's beings like really come through a lot of triggering things that may trigger like people, because like how can you have compassion on somebody who's like hurting kids? I get it, but like nobody got hurt in that thing. But like watching also like humanity almost make fun of someone who is looking for help
Right? Who is it
was so
crying for? Yeah.
a
Sorry.
crime. Yeah, no, it's okay. Like, I mean, it's hard for me like to articulate like the whole thing because it was allowing me to drop deeper into my heart to honestly and truly see compassion and love without condition to everyone in every condition. Because truly, each and every one of us aren't born with
Ex-
any of these deficiencies or whatever. It's just our programming was tweaked in a way where we see value now in like different things that aren't acceptable to us, that are hurtful like to other people. And that to me, when you begin to witness yourself allowing your heart to expand even for the whole humanity that are like truly shunning like this being, I'm like, that's a human being there.
Mhm.
That's a person that is looking and asking like for help. Probably didn't think he or she like could get help. And of course, like, for the kids, I mean, like, I'm like, that's another topic, but that's when you begin to realize your heart is expanding.
So, well, I love that you say
Yeah,
that because,
yeah,
um, you know, I was a pro, I always bring this up because I won't lie, I did like when I when I did this, but I was a probation officer,
okay.
and the energy within
Yeah,
that is usually like people are like, oh, like screw that asshole, or because all they're seeing is the crime of what had happened. And it was always really hard for me because these
yeah,
people that are sitting in front of me that are here now for help,
yeah,
I never saw them as like criminals. I could like it was just like I could see the
yes,
need, like the cry for just help. I may
yes,
tear up a little bit because I'm very
yes.
passionate about this, but like this
Mhm.
cry for help and this person that's sitting there, and everybody has a story of we all have stories of where we currently are today. And when I would read their case and, of course, like their case notes of like
Yes,
all of this therapy and everything that they did,
yeah,
they all had the same theme, and it was
yes,
hurt,
yes,
despair,
yes, yeah,
and I think that when we can look at humanity for the pureness of what it is,
yeah,
we have a whole entire different perspective. Not saying that what happened to you is okay. That is not
yeah.
okay. But I agree with you. There is a moment in that where honestly, they're just taking back their sense of control that was lost or taken by someone else.
Exactly.
And
Exactly, exactly. And like this is how and listen, I know when spirits and dimensions are there, and I know precisely what they're doing because I could already like I'm in the state of clear vision. This is the best way that I can describe it. But I could witness the form of judgment from humanity,
Mhm.
almost as if this person was born this way because they're not ready to face that in everyday life. All of us go through traumatic experiences. If you take the time, like you did, to read the case file and also allow that being to really profess everything that happened in his life, you'll realize precisely why they are doing what they are doing. And that's another layer of going deeper into beyond what's easier. It's easier like to shun somebody, and I'm not saying that we don't want to protect kids, but oftentimes we all like have this savior, I guess, role of, oh, I want to protect kids. Well, how about the ones that are also have been hurt all these years
Yes.
and are acting out in the best way that they know how? It takes self-love and it takes expansion of things to be able to see it deeper, like that, and it changes like your view on everything. Like I've always kind of felt like that, even like when I was a child, I feel, but but like now I see it with much clearer vision, and I get drawn like through the praying mantis to show me. I always loved documentaries. I've always like loved even serial killers. Like for some reason, I'm like, I must have been a serial killer in a past life. I guess. And I've said it to people, I must have killed people in a past life because, but I think that's my mind just trying to comprehend.
Right.
But also, I always had compassion for them because when you read their stories, you realize they've had the most like we all have. And trauma is trauma. There's no one trauma like more higher than the other. Or
Say
you
no
had
one is better or worse than the other. And the body,
trauma is
yeah, the body doesn't register as that either.
very,
It doesn't know
very,
what a big or a little trauma is. All it knows is that that's trauma. And the mind is saying this is trauma.
yes.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Sorry, I cut you off, but I
No,
agree
no,
with
no, 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 honey. So I've always been drawn to these very dramatic, even slavery. Like I love movies of slavery, and I know through a few past lives I was a black, like I was a black boy, and I was buried alive, and I was a slave. So I think part of my connection is there too. But even like bullying is like I'm always drawn to. Like it's really funny how I'm really drawn to all these victimhood roles because I feel like I've lived them and I have the ability to understand both sides. Like I literally understand like the victim and I can understand like the perpetrator. But now I'm seeing it even deeper from a very like love for humanity because we assume a lot. We judge easily. We want to act like Jesus. Oh, I'm gonna protect this group of people, but you're completely blind to the protection of another group of people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He also was a victim. She also was a victim. Let's try to understand that, of course, the people that lost kids or whatever, that's a complete other thing. You open your heart to everything, but when you begin to open your heart to the ones that are easily like shunned by the world and conditioned for us to shun, there's a reason why. Because when you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, all of us are in pain. All of us have been through traumas, one way or another.
And and if you want to take it even more expansive and take an even wider view
Yeah.
out, sometimes I look at that and I'm like, damn, what an incredible decision that you made to play that role. Like that, like what kind like I'm like, holy cow, what kind of lesson did you say I'm gonna sign up for this? And it's just it like I just kind of look at that and I'm like, like, damn, is all I have to say.
I'm not speaking because I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to show you how much I agree with you because I was asked a question about war on my
Mhm.
first event and I was on stage and specifically about kids dying and like women dying. Like how can this world or how can God love us when there's kids dying and then like women dying and like the praying mantis like came in and delivered the most beautiful message I didn't even know about unconditional love. And they precisely like said, how much awareness and power it will take for a soul to decide to come to earth, knowing people have forgotten that they are gods, to play out precisely a role where the whole world shuns them on stage. To consciously do that, to open up the hearts for others. That, that being must be so ascended to have chosen that role to be played, knowing billions of people or millions or whatever it is will not agree with what he is doing. And like they went deeper into how through our forgetfulness we even disempower like victimhood.
Mhm.
We disempower the victim, whether it's women or whatever, and we also like disempower the like perpetrator because they went deeper into the idea of death. There is no death. So what's this act of war and this person like killing somebody? It's just a transformation of energy that everybody like signed up for to allow themselves to experience the idea of like victimhood, to allow themselves to experience the idea of like perpetration and perhaps see a shade of love through that interaction. But us as like witnessing or as witnessers, if that's even a word, of the whole play, allowing our heart to open up with compassion. Yes, for the victim, that is very easy for us to do, but perhaps open your heart of compassion of why would that soul like decide to play out that role, even in this lifetime? What happened in his lifetime or her lifetime that allowed it to become so hateful, perhaps, or whatever, to get to this stage? Allow your heart to expand even further. And that's what unconditional love does to you because there
Yes.
is no state where I understand what unconditional love. I fully comprehend with my mind and beyond that there's all shades, infinite shades of unconditional love, and it keeps on stretching and stretching and stretching, allowing me to really comprehend fucking love is amazing. And it's so big and vast, and there's so much of it.
Mhm.
It's incredible.
I love it. So I want to read some of the comments
Sure,
that came
sure,
through.
sure, sure.
Um, Tina Tina said, "Love that I was nudged to listen to the show today. Love that Tony channels Mantis. I was told that I was a Mantis being in a past life. I love it. I didn't think much of it. Was okay, don't know anything about them. The next day came home from work and it was freezing outside and on my white front door in the cold was a praying mantis, which was there for almost 2 days. Figured it was a sign. One thing I learned was mantis beings are all about love."
You know how many stories, like when I channel for people, um, where like they would send me texts, they're like, okay, Tony, I've lived in Arizona or New York or Spain or Australia or China or whatever for years and never had exactly the incident of what you said. A praying mantis insect will show up. Yes, they are connecting with you. Yes, they are letting you that like there's a connection. It is not a coincidence by any stretch of imagination. Know that, Tina. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And yes, they are all about unconditional love. Unconditional love. Even for us to begin loving insects without condition. Because in our society, insects are another form that's scary, that looks weird, that looks alien. Oh my God, like there's a bug at home. I mean, I have spiders here. I have stink bugs that come in. I see those little millipedes. I talk to them. Okay, honey, it's a little cold outside. You're welcome to stay here like for a bit. Don't create a big colony. You can leave when it's warm. I never kill them. I let them be because I recognize their consciousness. They are an aspect of me. They are a shade of God. So they come through the idea of the insectoid like beings on purpose, so we can begin to see through, in a sense, um, um, like a gradation things that we don't think are friendly or even or even like gods within the realm that we understand, which is insects, are also of unconditionally loving. Yeah, and I'll mention one thing about reptilians in 1 second after you finish the thing that's coming to mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then Danielle said, "What a beautiful gift the mushrooms gave you. Thank you for sharing. Hugs." Oh, and then your comment where you're just loving our
Out
guests.
everyone, yeah, yes, because I didn't have a chance to read them, but I saw they typed and I just
Yeah.
wanted to give them love. So I was channeling at the LA Conscious Expo last year in LA. Well, the LA Conscious Expo, and it was like a large panel of 8 or 9 channelers. Each one like channels their own thing, and like there was a reptilian guy there, amazing. His name is Anthony Kalask. And he channels like the reptilian, and like one person asked about the like millipede beings or like the centipede beings or some being that's like very like insectoidy, right? And like they said, oh my God, this channel told me that they're bad or evil. I don't know what else, or like they don't love and they hate other like species. And then the men's beings came through. I can't remember if it was consciously or like unconsciously, but now like like they want to make a point that oftentimes we really judge. I mean, everything is like judgment. That, oh, this species doesn't like that species, and they don't have like a form of love. They stopped them and they had them reflect on the species of like of the millipedes, and like they said, but have you ever thought of within the millipedes like world, or even like reptilian world, within that species, like with each other, that they perform acts of love, that they have unconditional love like for each other? So it's not that they don't comprehend love at all. They do, but perhaps there is a reason why this species doesn't get along like with like that species. But the whole like notion that like a certain being doesn't understand love doesn't exist, because you cannot create without love.
Right.
You know what I mean? And and it makes psychological sense. Like to me, like if you're a reptilian, you have reptilian kids, for example, right? Like let's make it like a little bit human. You may have a wife or a partner or a whole hive or a collective. There's love for each other, so they are experiencing love, a shade of love that makes sense to them. That makes sense to their, I guess, like state of awareness, right?
Mhm.
So there's always love. Love is always there. There's no lack of love. There's no non-existence of love.
Right.
You know. Um, Anyways, and I thought that was powerful because I'm like, well, how can you say they don't love? They sure love.
Mhm. And everybody shows love in different ways. Just
Yes.
be, like just like even the way you and I show love, it's
Yeah.
going to be different and
Yeah.
unique to who we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I want to say one thing about the idea of unconditional love, since this is the whole theme here.
Mhm.
Because of our minds, because of our intellect, because of our performance, we live ideas of what love looks like or is, the quintessential way.
Right.
Vibrating and becoming the frequency of through the heart, obviously, through your energy essence, requires you to go within you. Because until you work on your shadows, right? And this doesn't mean every single shadow, right? Just you begin the intention of working on your shadows, and like you realize You begin to unconditional love aspects of you that you have buried, that you have shunned away, that you perhaps didn't know even existed. Unconditional love is an integrator. It brings the shattered pieces of yourself back to you. So you become the lens of unconditional love. From that frequency, you are able to see for the first time, perhaps, and be able to experience unconditional love outside of you. Up until that point, we are living in the concepts of what that means and in the actions of what that means and in the performance of what that means. Because just think about it like psychologically. If you are a projector, if you are a creator, and you haven't understood what unconditional love is to yourself, how do you really comprehend it outside of you?
Mm-hmm.
Up to that point we have a limited comprehension of like what that means, and it serves a purpose, and it's part of creation, and it's perfect in its way, but it's not as impactful in a way from the way that we want to, right? Again, like with our mind, that the most impactful one where your whole world begins to shift, where we talk about a restructuring of your whole paradigm begins when you integrate all the pieces that you have shattered within yourself back to you, because in that moment you will like realize, and there is no restructuring, guys, it's just a lens of vision. You'll be able to see the beauty that you've always been surrounded by, that you never were able to realize and see and vibrate on, because you were already shattered thinking you were shattered.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
you
love
know there's never a building of something better. Everything is beautiful, everything is perfect. It's just we see it literally how we actually are within ourselves. That's how these dimensions shift. That's how, when people say 5D, 6D, like 7D, open the veil, close the veil, open portal, all of it, honey, whoever the honey is, honeys, it's happening inside of us, from us, through us.
I like to call that coming
Yeah.
back to home
Yes,
because I don't believe that we're recreating or rebuilding
yes,
anything. We're just remembering what
yes,
home is, and home is
yes,
right here.
yes.
Um, Charmaine said being in a collective community requires unity and love.
Yes.
And
Love you, honey.
Tina says she agrees 100% with all that you're sharing today.
I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And all of us are keys to each other. And this is whoever will watch this in the future. You are no less than the next person. And the next person doesn't have more than you that gives them more access to more.
Mhm.
All of us are keys to each other, and all of our lenses are very unique to us. Like no one will ever speak or see the world or experience the world the way that I did and do and will do.
Mhm.
The same with you, the same with her, the same with him. And when we are able to fall and surrender into our own lens in which we see and experience and perceive and everything, when we fully receive it, that I am the facet of God of creation, that through my surrender of who I am fully and how my whole life has been, every microsecond of it, and however my life is going to be for the rest of eternity, is the key. My surrendering into what is becomes the key for God itself to find out itself one day.
Mhm.
Because when you fully fall into your own piece of who you are, that piece of the puzzle will fit so perfectly into the one missing piece that will one day complete God fully. Until that point, you're trying to stick your piece into another sacred geometry that's not you. And God is still lost. God is still trying to find itself. By the way, guys, for the ones who don't know, God also doesn't know itself fully.
That's why we're here.
Thank you. God
Yep.
knows itself fully up to the point it knows itself fully, the same way I know myself. So
Mhm.
if he, she, it, whatever it is, like grander intelligence, is also searching for itself, and you and me and everyone else around us are also searching for itself, doesn't that mean we're all gods? Yes, it
Yeah.
does. And he's not more valuable or more expanded than I am. It's just a perception. That's it. That's
Yeah.
how you begin to reclaim your value. And you are worthy in so many ways. You always have been, you always will be. We never are, never unworthy. Here comes English. Not worthy.
But even going back to just kind of to really kind of hammer in this point, even
Yeah.
the perpetrators are worthy. Like we come from a condition that says what you're doing is wrong. But I mean, there's worthiness in there to even, like I said, they signed up for that to come in and to perform that.
Yes. And
And
that action allows our heart to expand with compassion for the victims. Even though you may not yet have compassion like for the perpetrator, fine. Let's assume you are completely like devaluing like the perpetrator. His action or her action for being the perpetrator allows you to have compassion and open your heart to understand what love is. Because if we all lived in a world that's ever so loving, you'll never understand all the shades, all the like this is the gift, guys. But the next grander gift is to truly say, when you say unconditional love, it's love without conditions. And that goes to war, that goes to Hitler, that goes to Trump, that goes to all the roles that humanity has deemed to be bad or evil or whatever. I'm so passionate about this. Like I don't know, it's just like
I love this.
yeah,
I'm feeling the feels of it for sure.
me too, me
Um,
too.
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
we were all created like we all came in as a piece of duality. Like that's really what we are. I always think about that. I'm like, we are in itself duality. Like I am a duality for somebody that needs to have an experience. Just like if I have an experience that triggers something that triggers something in me,
Yeah.
there is that sense of duality that is forcing me to see both sides of the coin, right?
Yes, 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 100%. And like the praying man's me showed me this vision. Like one time where like they said like walk outside of your house. I don't know if I said this last time. I may have not.
I
Like
don't
walk outside of your house and look at everything that you're able to see. The wind, the insects, the leaf, humans, the car, the tire, the asphalt, new what like everything you witness outside of your eyes every day, every moment, every consciousness, like everything is our ascended masters holding a mirror
know.
reflecting back to you what you cannot see within your heart. Think about this for 1 second. You are surrounded by trillions of mirrors from humans, from leaves, from the winds, from experience, and from whatever. Every single mirror is designed to lead you back to yourself.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Then you begin to see the world as keys for unlocking who you are. Whatever you experience, whether it's a beautiful experience, an awful experience, war, a perpetrator, a kill, whatever, every data point that you are receiving is an opportunity for you to go within, to learn and teach yourself. Everything, the whole arrow points back to you. We're all keys to each other. When you see that beyond the intellect and beyond the mind, you literally will walk out of your house and be like, wow, I have gifted myself trillions of gifts. All of them are designed. It's like Christmas every day. The
Right.
fucking Santa Claus is amazing. Santa Claus is like everywhere, has a gift for me, and each gift I open is bringing peace back to my heart. Like you begin to see the world in a beautiful way. Instead, when I get these questions sometimes, oh, where is humanity heading? As if we're living in this. Yes, I understand from the aspect of like forgetfulness, humanity may be seen, we may seem not to be like nice or good to each other, and there may not seem to be a purpose, and the purpose may not be expansion. It is all expansion. It is all beautiful. It is all perfect. It is all magic. It is all being orchestrated by God and divine to begin with, all orchestrated and fueled by unconditional love to begin with.
Yeah.
Like your whole world shifts, then you begin to see other dimensions, other realities. Like I could be standing here like watching the world and seeing it and experiencing it in one way. Another friend could be here watching the same scene, experiencing it in a different way. Those are two different dimensions, two different densities, two different worlds, two different realities, parallel realities. Literally, all of them serve. All of them serve. So when you begin to comprehend that beyond the mind, you then let go of destination, let go of understanding the purpose or needing to, because oftentimes the mind's so designed, I'll only surrender if I know.
Hmm.
Well, that defeats the idea of surrender. Surrendering is you don't know, and
Right.
and in the not knowing, you realize what you don't know. Like the mind is so tricky and so beautiful and so. The mind has received a lot of awards, by the way, a lot of Oscars for being like dramatic. Like, you know what I mean? So then you begin to catch yourself. Wow, I'm building expectation and a destination. No wonder you're not receiving more because you're not allowing the intelligence, the consciousness, what's out there, in a sense, to reveal itself to you, because your mind will not be able to comprehend what's out there until you surrender. But the
Right.
mind says, unless you surrender, I'm not going to understand you. Well, that's not how it works, you know? So that's a bit deeper into true energy, like beyond the mind. But um, yeah, I always like joke about like, Excel sheets. I don't know who, I mean, I love like Excel sheets and, not everybody knows Excel, but anyways, whoever knows Excel, it's just, it's beautiful, but yet it's like very like, oh my God, this equation, this boom, and and this is how the mind works. Like, okay, but it's not how consciousness is, right? Because consciousness is an alive, forever going, forever intelligent, forever creating aspect of like something that's intangible. So, in order for us to begin to comprehend what that is, the act of surrender is very much so needed.
Yeah.
You know, on all levels, and yeah. Anyways.
I love
It's just
it.
it's beautiful, yeah.
It
And
really is. Like, I really do believe that we live in a really beautiful world.
yes, yes,
Even if we're looking at it through the lens of something, good, bad, evil, like whatever you want to call it, it's
yeah,
still there's still so much. There's not there's still the world is a beautiful
yes,
place.
yes,
And
yes.
I think the hardest part that we need to learn is to really take that step back and really see it from, from the faraway lens, the bird eye view, that versus what's just in front of us. And we get caught in that tunnel vision.
What you just said is magical. That only can happen. What Kelly just said is when you begin to work on yourself.
Hmm.
Because that's when the lens of vision changes. And there's not only one lens, guys. There's a kaleidoscopic infinite lenses, by the way. It's not just one vision. You get a lot of visions, a lot of different like perspectives. But up until that point, we are seeing the world based on what we were conditioned to see it through marketing, through education, through culture, through like your parents, through your own fears, through your own insecurities, through like whatever, like social media, like boom, like all this data is like coming in. Um, uh, Conditioning us to see the world in one lens.
Hmm.
When what Kelly said, she just said, that happens when you begin to go inside of yourself and love all aspects of who you are. That's when all it takes is one act of love to ourselves, guys, that shifts your lens an inch of a degree, and that inch literally changes the whole world. You're in a new dimension. You're seeing things from a very different way that continues to unlock like the mirroring effect of a magical world that we've always existed in. It has to come with us because I have chills right now because I am the lens in which I see my world. You are the lens. And just because I'm unfolding and unfurling into my own spirituality the way this way, you are not meant to come like this. You are designed to unfurl in the most beautiful way that it's going to be magic to me just witnessing you. Like you need to fall in love in the way in which you see the world, the way you comprehend it, the way you unlock your own mechanism. Because your lens and my lens will never be the same. If they are the same, then we'll never complete God. Like
Right.
God is this massive ball, like whatever, like ball of energy, and it got fractured. The fractions aren't equal. Each fracture has its own sacred geometry. You're that facet, I'm that facet. Until you fully fall in love with yourself and begin expressing yourself and professing and just being and living, creating from your lens,
Hmm.
up until that point, we're living in a limited, in a box, what society said we should be and do. And that's the fallacy, and that's the not the mistake. There's no mistakes. All of it is beautiful. This is the like prison that we keep imposing on ourselves and playing out roles of it that are in different shades. Again, so this is how the menses work. They're dropping and they're saying clearly, even the idea of prison has infinite shades. That even though humanity may look like they're still stuck in the same paradigm, each and every one of us have experienced the idea of prison from a different shade and a different lens. And even in that allows the universe, God itself, to see itself through those shades. So there's never, ever, ever a way where humanity is less ascended than the next. There's never a way where when the questions get posed where humanity is heading or better, it's perfect the way it's unfolding right here and right now. All of it is perfection. And you begin to see that when your internal lens begin to shift and you begin to see literally like a kaleidoscopic, they've been using that word a lot, kaleidoscopic nature of vision. Like, and remember, even the idea of vision is not a static. physical thing. It's a living organism too, a living intelligence that even through the idea of beginning to see the multiple visions through things, there's an aliveness and a shift within that vision. It's just this continuous, like amazing.
Right.
It's just magical. It's like magic at play all the fucking time. It's absolutely divine.
So you said prison. So I want to use this example because
Yeah.
when I was a probation officer, this was so eye-opening in regards to shifting my perspective.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm gonna make the claimer. I don't want to go to prison. I don't ever want to go to prison. I've seen it. I've toured it, but it was really interesting because like I would have people on my caseload that would come in and they would be like, what can I do to get to prison? Like, what do I need to do? And I'm like, well, I can't guide you to tell you to go commit a crime, but like violate your terms. That's the way to do it. But I'd always act like what, like I'm curious, why? And of course, here I'm coming from my limited lens, thinking that prison itself is this horrible place where you have no freedoms, you're stripped from everything.
Yes.
And I remember this one guy looked at me and he goes, because he's all, that's my safety. He's like, I have a roof over my head. He's like, I get fed. He goes, I actually decide what community, because if you guys recognize prison is very segregated and it's usually by race, unfortunately. But
Oh
he's like,
wow.
I then choose to belong to a community that will accept me. And it was so interesting to me to see that. And I was like, in my view, prison was so limited, so like my freedom was gone. In his mind, being on the outside, all like everything that I viewed prison as was his prison. But to go in and find acceptance and to be taken care of and have medical care when he needed it and like it just and I'm not by any means like putting prison on a pedestal, but it's just a perspective
Yes.
of that's what he needed to feel safe and
Yes.
to feel whole. And it was I mean, in all reality, it was the coolest thing. And I completely
Yes.
saw it from a different point of
Yes.
view. So when I had the
Yes.
next person comes that said, "How do I get to prison?" I wasn't judging that
Yes.
I knew that there was another piece of that because in his childhood he
Yes.
wasn't taken care of and he was neglected and he was there to fend for himself, so the outside world was a scary place for him.
Yes. 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 Within the prison was his freedom.
Mm,
How can a prison ever give you freedom? But yet, that shade of freedom exists for that being. And what you witnessed, that ascended master, and this is how I have chills right now. This is how we begin to recognize that ascended master gave you that perspective to see. He
mhm.
opened your heart. I have chills right now.
Absolutely.
He
Yes.
allowed your heart to open to begin to see that perspective because your heart was open enough like to receive it, but he gifted you that lens of seeing that what you see from your end, you're not seeing what I see from my end. That's my freedom. That's my safety. That's my family. Beauty within what we already created to be a bad place
Mhm.
with awful people, with like criminals,
Right,
you
yes.
know?
So I want to read these comments.
Sure.
Tremaine said, without attachment, and that was when I was talking about stepping out
Yes.
and viewing the world from a wider lens. She also said the most effective prisons are the ones where, I'm sorry, the most effective prisons are the one where I'm
Believe.
saying that we believe they are free.
Yes.
Yeah. And and like the truth is even when we're like on the outside, I remember, sorry, as I get into this, I remember having this conversation with my probation partner because he was like, he is crazy. And I remember I looked at him and I said, we choose whether or not to live in prison every day. Like prison, I like to me, we may have actual structures and systems that we think we put people in prison, but the biggest prison can be here.
Yes. Oh my God. I wish I had confetti. Hold on. I have to do confetti for this because this is amazing. I have to. You guys know how dramatic I am. I have to do this. I wish I could just do it in real life. Absolutely. The most prison of the prisons is the prison of the mind, and each and every one of us are in many prisons of
Mhm.
self.
Yes.
You can be in a prison. Oh my God, this is so funny. You can be in a prison. I was going to say and feel free. Well, the example you just gave is that. Um, what do we do when we like suppress, when we're afraid to speak? That's a prison.
Mhm.
I'm afraid to put this down because I'm going to be judged. That's another prison. We continue to imprison ourselves. This is why I call myself um, a paradigm shifter. I don't know if you guys have seen me with like dresses and things. Like I'll show you some, just a quick taste, which are not online yet, but will. You may have seen like one or two, but this is. So I was in LA and I had bought this dress just for the hell of it. You see?
Yes, I love it. I'm all that. I'm all, that's a gorgeous dress.
I know it is a gorgeous dress. But anyhow, like a man wearing a dress, who fucking cares? Who said a dress is for women to begin with? And what's feminine and what's masculine? To me, it's creation.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Um, so anyhow, so like that's another part of me that also like express like not to be afraid to express creation in its many beauty and become a visual disruptor for people. So I disrupt people like with words, which we're all taught. It's easy for us to receive, but when you visually, at least for the ones that aren't open-minded, like when I came on stage like with another like dress, I had a few guys came up to me and said, "I judge you completely."
Okay.
And then like they began crying, like, "Oh my God, like the moment I heard you speak and know who you are, I'm your biggest fan." Like, but it shows you the prisons that we are in, even
Mhm.
in just witnessing others. That I'm in my own prison, unable to even comprehend or even give myself the opportunity to understand this person immediately because he doesn't look, he's a man, he doesn't have a suit or whatever man is supposed to wear. Then I've already, but he gave himself the opportunity, or they gave themselves like the opportunity. Even like women come up to me and say, "Oh my God," even like my initial look, which looked kind of holy. I don't know if you guys remember on my website. I'll show you quickly. Which I never thought would I would get a comment like that, but apparently people when they saw it, they're like, "Oh, you looked holier than thou," so I judged you for that look. So like it's hard to see because it's kind of it's like kind of like that.
Yes, yeah, I've seen. I was gonna say I've seen that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a few women that like, came up and a guy who said, "I judged you simply like for the way that you look." I'm like, "Well, what?" I was curious. I'm like, "What went through your mind?" And he said, "You just looked way too holy or too like unapproachable." I'm like, "Really? I thought this is more." In my mind, I thought one way, but then like they got to know me and they heard me speak and they completely shifted. So the prisons that we continually produce for ourselves and not surrendering into giving the opportunity to see, okay, like even like catching ourselves in that moment of like judgment, because I don't really know like what happened from when he judged me to when he began to realize he didn't judge me. Like why did it need to take words for him to begin not to judge me? That just the look itself already put him so I use both. I use visuals and I use words to disrupt the world, and the magic happens when they like realize I'm real and I'm as human as they are, and I go through a shitty day as they do, and don't put me on and I remind people, please don't put me on a pedestal. I don't have any special abilities. All of us can channel. All of us can do this. Even though I can channel and talk to spirits and give you all these amazing knowledge, when I go back to my life, I'm still as confused and forgotten and trying to fucking figure myself out. And I have a good day and I have a bad day, as you do. And I trust spirit
Yes.
and I don't trust spirit. So it's, and then they like, oh, okay, he's like me.
Hmm.
Again, a prison, when you see somebody else is higher than you for whatever reason, that's a form of prison,
Yeah.
isn't it? Everything is a shade of prison. Like, oh, he's special and I'm not. Oh, he has access to this and I'm not. Well, just empowering yourself and empowering of something that seems on the outside to be more. So, you know,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I love it. Okay, so Shireen, oh, this is when you showed your picture in your
Thank
dress.
you.
You said you're gorgeous,
Thank
and
you.
then when you showed I'm all your holy picture.
Yes.
She said, "I love you in that."
Thank you, honey.
Yes, I do want to ask.
Yeah.
Does anybody in the audience have any questions or
Please.
anything? You guys have been very active in the chat, but I want to also give you an opportunity to use your voice and be seen.
Yeah.
So. Does anybody have any questions? You don't have to come off camera or mute. You could put it in the chat and I'm more than happy to read it for you, but um
But I'm gonna say this: this is your moment to get out of your own prison, not to speak. Let's enact what we say. We don't want to be parrots, like I have been for the longest time. You know, it's okay. You're a safe space here, and when you speak your truth, guys, remember God hears itself through you. When you suppress that voice, God is not receiving what it needs to know from you.
I just saw Shiming take her mic off. Yes.
Hi, Tony.
Hi,
Hi,
Charmaine.
hi, everybody. So, I've been listening a lot to what you say, and it is so spot on. It's like our society has been manipulated and brought into submission to deny who we are as human beings because we're supposed to fit in particular pegs, a square peg, a round peg, or whatever. And that the most effective prisons are the ones where people believe they are free. I read that on the college wall in Santa Cruz County at
Wow.
their UCSC, their college campus. And I thought, wow, like that is so true. And our society has turned tries to keep people locked down so that they are in prison. And it's just like, one thing after another that tries to damper the individual expression of the divine, which all of us are. You said it most beautifully in that, we all are our own individual aspect of it. I can't be you, you can't be me, and together we turn and make this an even more beautiful expanding existence, not
Yes.
only for ourselves, but throughout all of creation. I mean, what we do here affects many levels we don't even understand yet. But it's like, I mean, there's, you know, I totally relate to what you say. I mean, I don't really have any questions because it's like I feel like we're kind of in the same brain frame. But
Amazing.
I love that you what you share, and I love the expression of how you present yourself and the freedom of your heart and the way you dress and the way you paint your face. I mean, I just think you're, this incredible, radiant being. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you, my love. It was amazing to hear your voice as always. And I do want to add one more thing is once because like this whole topic is about unconditional love. Once we begin to access unconditional love within ourselves and the world shifts because our lens has shifted towards self, so now we see the world differently. We will begin to see the beauty of what's unfolding. That even what you just said, which I 100% agree with, all the what society has conditioned us and everything else, all that will shift for us too. We'll literally begin to honor and witness creation at its best.
Yes.
Because literally, even when we say like society like conditioned us, who's society to begin with? It's God. It's all intelligence. So that's when the shifting of the lens allows you to see what once was through the act of forgetfulness, a world of forgetfulness, and we all hate each other and we all condition each other while brainwash each other. All that will fall away. You'll see a different lens, honoring these beautiful ascended masters playing out the most magical roles, and your whole life will be just
Yep.
witnessing. So I just wanted to add that.
Oh, yes. Um,
Can I say one more thing about that? I mean, we are definitely going through a paradigm shift. It's like the old format for how humanity has evolved is drastically changing. And, a lot of people are kind of scared right now because it's, you know, it's like when you're first let out of prison, you don't know what to do with yourself. It
mhm.
takes you a while to figure out how you're going to move through existence now. And it is just an incredibly magnificent time to be in for sure.
Yes, and I just want to add one more thing because I know we have one other person wants to say something. We've been conditioned to say the paradigm of your paradigm is shifting. You, Charmaine, Your lens is shifting, which allows you to see a different parallel reality of everyone else that's shifting with you. Remember, this parallel over parallel of infinite parallels that we're all experiencing, it's not one humanity or one world, and humanity is not shifting. It is your lens that's allowing you to see things and experience things very differently. We are the change. There's no collective of humans outside of us. It's all us to begin with.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Sure, comment is exactly. So Megan doesn't have a camera on her mic and she
Okay.
doesn't have any questions, she said. But she
Oh,
did comment and said, I'm just really enjoying being part of this group and listening to what is being said. Good reminders that we own our own power if we can only get out of our way. And then Tina commented, yes, we can see the beauty in all when we open up to unconditional love.
yes,
And
the mantises are here. I just want to comment for Megan. This is what they do. They're amazing with words, which they never have been before. Well, anyways, good reminder that we are our own power. Amazing. If we can only get out of our way, absolutely not. Get
in
into your
your
way.
way.
It is you. Just be mindful what you say. Those little things, like Megan, I swear to God, if you begin and this what just happened is a shift, is a micro degree of a shift of word. Will change your whole life forever. We don't need to get out of our we've been so conditioned. Fuck no. That's the whole point. I am out of my way. I'm in so many fucking pieces. I want to come back together to me. So get in your way more and go inside. Just they wanted to mention that.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Danielle said, I love you, Tony and Kelly. You're both beautiful. And oh, thank you, inside and out. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you, Danielle. Oh, and Megan said, aha. Thank you, Tony. I'll remember that.
Yes. Because you are the way.
Hmm.
You are the way. If you get out of the way, you're getting out of yourself.
Yeah.
Into separation, you are the way, you are beauty, you are the answers. And everything that unfolded, and this is the trick, everything that unfolded precisely unfolded to allow you to expand right here, right now, or next month, or next year. Nothing that unfolded before prohibited you or pushed you back in any way or slowed you down. None of that. That's bullshit. There is no slowing down. I am the way. We are the way. Yes.
And the
Yes.
way we are the way. I love that. Yes.
Yes.
So cool. Well, Tony, I have to tell you, I enjoyed our conversation last time. I really enjoyed our conversation this time. I agree with Danielle. You are beautiful inside and out, and very. I have to tell you, I love how real, raw, and genuine you are because it's very inspiring. Because, like we talked about before, we wear so many masks, and I like it's just you're just cool. I'm just gonna put it out there like that. You're just so cool, and I
I
love
love
it.
you, Kelly. Thank you. And just for you, for your own knowledge and like for the public, I wasn't always like this. This began 2.5, 3 years ago when I awakened. I've always had masks. I've always performed. I didn't realize I was performing. I didn't even realize I had masks on. And the masks continue to come off. So I don't ever not like I have masks that come out every once in a while, and I'm still working on those. But I've gotten very comfortable within the spiritual community. And again. Um, yeah, so it's a lot. It's it's we're always. I don't want to say work in progress because we're never ever not progressing. We're just revealing to ourselves what we always have been, how beautiful we always have been. That's it.
Yes. And I'm all and right there in what you said is the genuineness that I love because it's truth. And I so appreciate truth so much. So Tina, her comment was, I have never liked labeling or putting others in boxes. I even wrote a poem about it, not putting a label on me in a box.
Love,
Yeah.
love, 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 love.
So okay, so you have graciously gave a gift for donation.
Yes.
And just so that everybody knows, all any donations that come through, 100% of them go to the She Rises Foundation. This She Rises Foundation is about empowering and uplifting women to really step into their leadership. Whether that is entrepreneurship, being the best mom you can be, being the best woman you could be, it doesn't matter. I never want anything to get in the way of you, of of you just fulfilling your dreams. So that money goes to scholarships, it goes to funding loans, it goes to education, coaching, you know, like I think I just said it, like startups, it's whatever you need to let you get in your way. To get in your way and be the best that you can be. So you, Tony, you're offering a 2-hour group channeling session. Would you like to share what that's about?
Yes, so really simple. You get to ask the praying mantis questions. Praying mantis beings your questions. My beings don't like to talk on their own, and like they're not here to profess knowledge that way. They love to give you value. So bring your questions, anything. And like they'll go into your past lives, future lives. They may dig deeper a little bit with you. So it's a beautiful opportunity for you to experience them really in action. They speak differently, they sound differently. Words are very like they're not like what you've heard so far. I mean, the knowledge is kind of the same, but they speak from a very expanded, energetic, just wild way. And it's on the 29th, I think, right? Is that what I?
Yes, that was, I don't know, that's the
Yes.
date you gave me.
Yeah, it's okay. The 29th from 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern. Like this way for our East Coast people, the West Coast people can be a little accessible. And so when you sign up, you just put your first name, last name, and then like your email, and I'll send you guys like the Zoom link maybe a week like before and a few days like before, as more people sign up. And it's recorded, so if you can't make it, that's fine. If you can make it, you'll obviously like receive it so you can re-listen to it and like re-listen to your question and answer. And it will be magical. It's very activating. When like they're here, you'll feel them. I mean, you feel them through me, obviously, but when they're kind
Yes,
of when I bring them intentionally, it's a very different
beautiful.
experience. Yeah.
All right. So all of that will be in his speaker center. So you can click on that. You can get that. And again, for everyone that donates, just thank you so much.
Yes.
So, and then Jen's comment is thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony, for sharing love and light. This has been an amazing talk. Tina saying thank you, Tony and Kelly. You're so welcome. And thank you and blessings to all.
Yes.
So you got something to say. I can see it.
Yes, I just want to say I love you all. Thank you for all the beautiful messages. And what just came to my mind as you were speaking like earlier is I think each and every one of us should go on Amazon. I'm not kidding. You should do that. Hopefully this exists out there and just buy yourself an award.
Oh, I
A
love
little trophy. It could be tiny, plastic, doesn't matter. You are the best, whatever fuck you want to call yourself. Mom, whatever, you are the best. And have that and remind yourself every day. You get an award for breathing every day. You get an award for thinking every day. You get an award for being imaginative every day. You get an award for failing every day. You are a master at play and at creation.
yes.
Every day you're awarded, every second you're awarded. None of us are less awarded than others. Like it's a beautiful act on your altar. If you don't have an altar, create. I create like an altar like for self where I have a few of my images and a few of my beings. First time ever when I had an altar, it had Jesus and saints and from Lebanon and all the saints and all kinds of old relics that I bought and which I still have, but they're but they're stored right now because they're in me. But now I have an altar for myself for all my versions. So go buy yourself an award, and I'm gonna do that for myself, by the way. I'm not
Oh,
kidding. You'll see it on social media, actually. It's just not to prove it, but just, yes, why not?
yeah, I agree. I'm all, why not?
Totally.
We should make it a priority to celebrate ourselves any way, shape we can. So
Yes. And the
yes,
universe listens when we do that, guys. That's an action in our physical world. So when you award yourself this thing, and remember, with every breath I take, I'm awarding myself, you restructure the paradigm of your own reality.
I love it.
Remember, talk in the mind is one thing. Action is the language of this physical reality.
Mhm.
So, one thing to speak concepts, another thing to act them out. Gift
I
yourself. If I have all of your addresses, I'll buy you all. I'll buy you a thing. If you want to send me the emails, if you're not courageous enough to do it, I'll fucking do it for you because you deserve it.
I love it.
Seriously.
And then Megan says, "Thank you so much, Tony and Kelly. You're both incredible. Thank you, and have amazing energy and hearts. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charmaine, Tina, and Jen too. It's been a great space to be in with you and with your love and light."
One last thing. Just for you, Kelly, I just want to say thank you so much for this beautiful platform. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for being as crazy and cuckoo as I am and unlimited and unhinged and unimprisoned in so many ways. And I really appreciate your love for me and your invitation. Yeah, just an acknowledgement for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm like, and I totally received that, what you just shared. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. So, again, everybody, thank you so much, all of you, for being here and how active you were. This has been such a great time, an amazing conversation. And I just want to, and everybody who watches even on the replay, thank you so much for just being here and showing up in the way that that in any way, shape, or form, honestly. But I want to wish everybody such a happy holiday. Have a safe, beautiful, joyous holiday. Just enjoy and enjoy, and again, enjoy yourself and celebrate yourself because that's truly what we're here to do. So, so much love to all of you from my heart to yours. Oh, thank
And
you, everyone.
sing and dance and love yourself.
Yes.
Even sexually, guys, that's important. That's money creation. Have
Mhm.
self-love for yourself. Be orgasmic with yourself. Move the energies.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we get stale into our thoughts and everything. Dancing, singing, having sex with yourself or with your partner or whatever in a very energy way moves energy. It's all creation. There's no limitation, guys. There's no suppression. Just express, express, and be.
Yes, I love it.
Yes.
Oh, thank you again, Tony.
Thank you, Kelly. Sorry, I interrupted you towards that. I just had to
No,
say
you're
it.
totally
One
fine.
last
Just,
thing.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm just gonna let it, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much, Tony. So much love.
Love you guys.